The night was quiet, too quiet. At 1:03 a.m., the red on-air light flickered in the darkened studio of WZOR 103.3, a small-town radio station nestled in the heart of rural Michigan. Grant Mallory, the overnight DJ, leaned into his microphone, voice smooth as velvet. "You're listening to the Midnight Hour with Grant Mallory," he said, sipping lukewarm coffee. "Tonight's theme: lost calls, stories of missed connections, wrong numbers, and strange messages. If you've got a tale to tell, the lines are open." Outside, the wind howled against the windows. Inside, only the soft hum of equipment and the faint rustle of papers filled the silence between songs. Then the phone rang, not the listener call-in line, the private studio line. Unlisted, used only by staff and emergency services. Grant hesitated. He didn't recognize the number. With a sigh, he answered. "WZOR, Grant speaking." There was silence, then a faint, crackling voice. "Don't hang up." Static buzzed. "Hello, who is this?" Grant asked, his tone tightening. "You have 90 minutes. After that, they'll come." The line went dead. Grant stared at the receiver. Probably a prank, he thought. He had listeners who got a kick out of creeping him out. Still, something in the voice. It hadn't sounded like a joke. It had sounded terrified. He glanced at the clock. 1 a.m. The next song was queued up. Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper. How appropriate. He switched on the mic. "Well, folks, we just got our first creepy call of the night. Must be the full moon." The song played. Grant leaned back, forcing a laugh, but his eyes kept drifting to the dark studio door. 1:12 a.m. The studio line rang again. Grant let it ring once, twice, then picked up. "This better be good." This time the voice was different, female, whispering. "You're not supposed to answer that line. They hear through it." "Who hears?" "Don't you remember? The station wasn't always just a station." The line crackled, then went dead again. Grant stood up, a chill creeping down his spine. He walked to the door and checked the hallway. Empty, except for the blinking light in the copy room. The place was ancient, its walls layered with soundproofing foam and old broadcast posters from the 80s. He'd worked here for 3 years. It had never felt haunted. Until now. Back at his desk, he switched to a pre-recorded segment to buy time and opened the old staff files stored on the computer. He typed WZOR history. A document popped up, emergency log, October 1998. Grant's breath hitched. The file wasn't supposed to be on-air accessible. He opened it. At 1:03 a.m., during an overnight broadcast, DJ Helen Ray reportedly began speaking to voices no one else could hear. Her last words on air were, "They're crawling out of the static." The station went off air for 6 days. Helen was never found. Grant froze. That was exactly 27 years ago, to the minute. He looked at the clock. 1:30 a.m. 60 minutes left. The phone rang again. Grant reached for it with shaking hands. "You need to go," the female voice whispered. "They come through the dead signals." "What dead signals?" Grant asked. "The frequencies no one listens to anymore, the ones filled with static. That's where they hide. That's where they wait. And at 2:33, they cross over." "Who are you?" The voice faded into static, then silence. Grant hung up, sweat beaded on his forehead. He opened the live broadcast panel and scanned the frequency list. Most were occupied with other stations. But one, 98.6 FM, was listed as inactive but still emitting a low signal. Curious, he tuned in. At first, only static. Then he heard something. A voice, barely audible beneath the noise. "Help me." Grant's heart pounded. "Help me, Grant." He yanked off the headphones. His name. It had said his name. He sat back, staring at the studio monitors. The screen flickered. The red on-air light flashed off, then on again. Then the room went cold. The lights dimmed. Grant stood. The hallway beyond the glass door was pitch black. Only the soft red glow of the on-air light remained. A new voice spoke through the monitor speaker. Male, echoing, hollow. "You were warned. You stayed." Grant turned slowly. On the wall behind him, the old photograph of the original WZOR team began to fade. Faces blurred, names vanished. A low buzzing filled the studio, like 1,000 whispering voices building into a chant. Time is bleeding. The gate is open. Grant backed away. The static from the 98.6 frequency was now playing on its own. The system wasn't broadcasting it, but it was loud in the room, filling the studio with unbearable noise. He tried the door, locked. Suddenly the lights exploded. One by one, a black, tar-like shadow began to ooze from the radio console. Eyes, dozens of them, blinking, watching. "You took her place," the voice said. "A soul for a signal." Grant screamed, slamming his fist against the door. "Let me out." Then, silence. The static cut. The studio was dark. Grant collapsed to the floor, gasping. A moment passed. Then, the power surged back. The emergency lights flickered on. The hallway light blinked to life. The door clicked unlocked. Grant staggered into the hallway. Everything looked normal again. He rushed to the station manager's office, grabbed his coat. Keys. Didn't bother locking up. Outside, the cold air burned his lungs. He fumbled for his car keys, hands shaking. Then his phone buzzed. Unknown number, a message. "You ended the broadcast. They're still hungry." Grant threw the phone onto the ground and drove off into the night, tires screeching. 3 days later, the station remained off-air. Listeners called, complaining of silence on 103.3. Police searched the building. They found no one, only the on-air light, still glowing red. And on the broadcast console, a message scratched into the metal with what looked like fingernails. "Do not listen after 2:33. 1 week later, a new DJ, Lucas Klein, was hired to fill the overnight shift. He arrived at the studio late, cursing the snow. He had no idea why the last guy had quit, just some rumor about a nervous breakdown. At 1:03 a.m., the system auto-launched the next segment. The private studio phone rang. Lucas, yawning, answered it casually. "WZOR, this is Lucas." Silence, then, "Don't hang up." The end.